We're going pretty quickly through John, so we're going to read all of John 2 together this morning, and we'll go about a chapter a week, more or less, from here. So this is John chapter 2 in a message titled New Wine Has Come. John chapter 2, verse 1. On the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were six stone water jars there for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them to the brim. And he said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." So they took it. When the master of the feast tasted the water now become wine, he did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. The master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and when people have drunk freely, then the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." This is the first of his signs Jesus did at Cana in Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, they went down to Capernaum with his mother and with his brothers and his disciples, and they stayed there for a few days. The Passover of the Jews was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple, he found those who were selling oxen and sheep and pigeons, and the money changers sitting there. And making a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the temple with the sheep and oxen. And he poured out the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. And he told those who sold the pigeons, "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of trade." His disciples remembered what it was written, "Zeal for your house will consume me." So the Jews said to him, "What sign do you show us for doing these things?" Jesus answered them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." And the Jews said, "It's taken 46 years to build this temple, and you will raise it up in 3 days?" But he was speaking about the temple of his body. When, therefore, he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they believed the scripture and the word that Jesus had spoken. Now, when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover feast, many believed in his name when they saw the signs that he was doing. But Jesus, on his part, did not entrust himself to them, because he knew all people and needed no one to bear witness about man, for he himself knew what was in man. This is the word of the Lord. Well, we are a society, aren't we, that is overly fascinated with the new. What's next? What is coming? It's a question that's on most modern minds like ours. Show me something new. Easily found on our lips and on our minds today. To modern folks like us, new almost always, right, represents something better. The new iPhone, the new Tesla Model 3, the new OLED TVs just announced at CES, the new fashion line for the spring. I had a class this week and we had to go around the mall and do a study on things. There's new mom jeans at Forever 21. They're called the Mom. That's the style. And it's like they're up here on young people. First I was like, is this a mom on the ad? Oh no, the jean style is called. Anyway, the new mom jeans are out. The PS5, which is coming out after the PS4, which was better than the PS3, and so on and so forth. Especially when it comes to consumer products, right? We are always looking for the next thing because new is better than old. It's so easy to declare the common American phrase, out with the old, in with the new. You could finish it yourselves. Contrarily, the scriptures often call us to remember. Not to look forward to something novel and new, but remember what is old, what has been done, what has been accomplished for you. Remember what God said of old. The Bible we study contains 66 books from 40 different authors, written over a period of 2,000 to 4,000 years ago, give or take. Remember what God has done to rescue and save us. Remember who you are now in Christ if you've put your life in his hands and trusted him. Remember not what the world tells you is true of you, but what Jesus tells you is true of you. Remember your true worth and value comes from God and his thoughts about you, not what the influencers think or your coworkers think or even your family thinks. Remember what is old. Don't look forward to the new. However, there is one huge example in Scripture. There's probably a few we could look to, but in terms of today, where out with the old is extremely appropriate. And not just appropriate, but is actually some of the best news ever. We're going to explore that today in John chapter 2 in this wonderful story of the wedding at Cana. Here's the key takeaway for this morning. It's on the back of your bulletins on the screen behind me. Jesus' first miracle, which is what we're looking at today. Jesus' first miracle demonstrated a clear sign that something new has come. That a new celebratory age has dawned with his ministry. Let's see how that unfolds for us today in John 2. Our story this morning follows closely from where we were last week. In fact, the last 2 weeks in chapter 1. When we finished last week, if you were here with us, John the Baptist had testified that Jesus is the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. The testimony from John the Baptist caused Andrew and likely John, the author, and later the apostle, to begin to follow Jesus. After that, Philip and Nathanael, likely Nathanael is Bartholomew in the other Gospels, they begin to follow Jesus next and begin telling others about him. And more people start following and saying, this is the one we've been waiting for. This is the Messiah, the one God has sent to us. Even though they were probably expecting a military Messiah to come and rule and to kick out Israel's actual physical national enemies, and not what Jesus will eventually reveal himself to be, they still started seeing more and more people, the first disciples, follow Jesus. Part of the revelation we are going to see that continues in that story takes place here. Now, as we approach chapter 2, imagine you're in Jesus' shoes. This is kind of blasphemous, right? Imagine you're Jesus. But think about being in his shoes right now. You're God incarnate. You're the second person of the Trinity come to earth. You are the promised one of God. You are going to accomplish the greatest victory in all of history, both materially and spiritually. So how are you going to begin? You might think, well, I'm going to need a lot of followers, right? I'm going to need a lot of people. If I'm going to start this new worldwide religion, got to get lots of people to start following me. You're probably thinking, I'm going to gather a big crowd, perhaps. After all, you've got all the divine power that you would need. Gather a crowd, maybe raise someone from the dead, bada bing, bada boom, instant new religion and tons and thousands of followers. Do that a few more times and you're well on your way to changing the whole world. But that's not what Jesus does to begin his ministry. What does he do? He goes to a wedding with his mom. Does that seem like a strange way to begin your project of changing the world? It would have seemed strange to the religious ancient world too, for sure. Indeed, most of the radical Jewish religious sects of the day were doing the opposite of what Jesus was doing. They were separating themselves from the common activities of life. They were going out to live in caves and in ascetic setting. denying themselves of common things, denying themselves of material things, much like we would see monastic communities today, which go off and get away from the world and try to live holy lives. So that is nothing new for those in the world who choose to be devoutly religious, but not so for Jesus. He will not be a Messiah who removes himself from the world. He will enter into it in the most common of ways, into celebratory activity where there is alcohol and food flowing. He goes to a wedding in all its commonality. Let me ask, do you ever feel average? Do you ever feel just normal? That often is looked down upon in our world. Certainly, we're in LA. We all tend to look good. We all think about our Instagram followers. We all think about our appearance on a regular basis. What could be worse than being basic, right? But not so for Jesus. He's the God of the basic, if you will. He comes to the normal, the average, the basic like us. He cares not for what your number of Instagram followers are, not how your portfolio is doing, not whatever else you use to measure yourself against other people. He is the extraordinary God who comes to ordinary people like you and me. Also notice one little detail we probably missed on the first reading. John the author tells us that this took place, quote, on the third day. John usually isn't so precise about his timing. In fact, he doesn't really spend much time on the resurrection, referring to it as the third day later in the book. So the fact that he does not usually notice timing like that and point it out makes us go, what's going on here? Why is he mentioning that? Now we have to realize, remember, in case you don't know, the chapter breaks in here are artificial. They were entered in hundreds of years after after the scriptures were ever written. And so chapter 2, starting right here, is just an artificial barrier here. It was put there long ago from others, but was not in the original text. So this follows exactly from that John the Baptist story. This is taking place just days before what took place in John chapter 1. If you follow that timeline closely, when John the author says here that this is the third day, he means essentially this is the seventh day from that first day that John the Baptist gave his testimony. This would mean something to the Jewish audience accustomed to the Sabbath, right? And John the author in the prologue has already brought to our minds the creation story. We said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. On the seventh day of creation, God rested from his work. He celebrated his work with his creation, right? Adam and Eve. The work took place on days 1 through 6. The party began on the seventh day. Here we are. Jesus is at this wedding, and it's the seventh day. John the author is subtly telling us, here comes the new party for the ages. Are you ready? The Sabbath of all Sabbath rests is coming. So Jesus is at an ancient wedding. Cana, not far from his house in Nazareth. So Jesus takes his mother, Mary, or she was invited as well. The distance from Nazareth, his hometown, and the reality that his mother is there with him probably means this was likely either a close personal friend of Jesus and Mary and their family, or this could have even been a relative of their family itself. Ancient Jewish weddings could have lasted for up to a week. How about that for a long wedding? So it's a long celebration. Jesus brought his new disciples with him to this wedding as well. Perhaps strange to them if they are expecting a new kingdom is imminent and going to come, and we're waiting for Jesus to start kicking some Roman butt, and they're like, we're going to a family wedding? But then drama is introduced in verse 3. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." Now, we have to understand some things here. Ancient Jewish weddings, it was the responsibility of the groom, or called the bridegroom here, to provide the food and the drink. And since they lived in an honor-shame society, if you failed to provide enough food and drink, and in this case wine, then it was a huge dishonor on you, on your family, and on your new bride that you just married. Great shame would have come upon you and your new marriage. So the short line by John, "The wine ran out," was a declaration of a crisis for this wedding and for this new marriage. It was great drama that our 2020 ears need to understand, lest we think, oh, big deal, head down to Bevmo, pick up some more $2 Chuck, whatever. Must have been a great party. They drank a lot. Woohoo. Something much more dire is actually taking place here. And this reality is underscored by Mary's reaction, right? She goes and tells Jesus, says, "Hey, they're out of wine, Jesus." Now, this also makes it more likely that it was probably a close relative or a dear friend to Jesus and Mary. Mary is likely saying something like, son, you have to do something. They're out of wine. You got to fix this. Anyone ever have their moms come up to them and say, something is wrong, you need to take care of it and fix it? This also likely underscores that Mary was probably at this time dependent upon Jesus as her firstborn son. Joseph was likely passed away at this point. We don't see Joseph anymore after Jesus was 12 years old at the temple in the Gospel of Luke. After that, Joseph is never mentioned again. So likely at some point he had passed away and Mary was now a widow. And therefore Jesus, as the firstborn son, would have been the one responsible to care for his mother and provide for her. She would have been financially dependent on his carpenter work up to this point. So she goes to Jesus and says to him, he needs to do something. He is the breadwinner. You need to fix this crisis. Jesus' response is a little weird, isn't it? Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. Seems really cold, doesn't it? In English, it certainly seems like woman. We definitely not try that. Fellas, if you're married, try saying that to your wife. Not going to go well. I do not recommend that course. You want to take out the trash? Woman, my time has not yet come. I do not recommend that. The coldness there is actually present as well in the original language. It's not quite as cold as woman is to English ears. It was probably something more like ma'am. We're not in the South, but those of you who have been to the South, ma'am is a common way. Usually don't refer to your own mother that way, so there's still some separation in the relationship that Jesus says here, some distance he's putting between himself and his mother. Also, what does my hour has not yet come mean? A transition is happening for Jesus now. For about 30 years, he focused on being a child to Mary and Joseph, and then growing up into a man, learning his father's trade, most likely being a carpenter. He's referred to in other places in the Gospels as being a carpenter and the carpenter's son. Now, after his baptism, the time has come. His ministry has begun in full. Something new is happening now. It's time for a new Sabbath celebration to start. And that means he is laser focused on his new divine calling, or the original divine calling he had. His hour, likely a reference to his death on the cross, is not yet here. Mary is going to have to shift from seeing Jesus primarily as her special son to seeing him as the Son of God. She has to go on the same journey that every other person who comes to Jesus has to go on. How hard would that have been when you raised him, right? That would have been so difficult for Mary. Her response, though, shows how great her faith continues to be, even as it's transitioning to this new and difficult situation where Jesus is doing a lot more than making tables as a carpenter. She tells the servants, do whatever he tells you. Showing that an expectation of faith, at least, he's going to do something. What happens next is remarkable. John tells us next there were 6 stone jars, each one holding about 20 to 30 gallons of liquid. Notice, though, these stone jars are not just average large jars, are they? What's unique about them? They were used for the Jewish rites of purification. That may seem insignificant to you and me, especially if you're not from a Jewish background, but it's an important detail John gives us here. It's not just the place where they wash their hands, put on a little antibacterial soap at the bathroom sink, and head on over to eat the food. This was for ritual cleansing. These jars were to hold water for the cleansing rituals required by God's law, by the Torah, by the Mosaic law instituted and given to Moses. So there is also a cleanliness aspect, but a religious requirement to cleanse yourself with this water in these jars. That's a hint of what's happening here. Hold that thought for a moment. What does Jesus say to do with those jars? Fill them up with water, right? All the way. So the servants do just that. They likely went to a well, some source of water that was nearby. We don't know wherever it was. They fill up then these 6 jars. How do they fill them up? John mentions to the brim, all the way up. Now this is important. What does Jesus say next? Now, draw some out and take it to the master of the feast. So they took it. I learned something interesting when I did this study this last week. I never realized this until I read it this week and looked at it closely. I used to think, and perhaps you used to think this too if you're familiar with this story, it was the water in the jars that was turned into wine. But look closely at the story. Now, in that verse, represents a change, likely, in the original language, a shift. Now, draw some water out. And that word, draw some water out, something we can't see in English. It sounds just very normal. But that word in Greek is the word used for drawing water out of a well, and used exclusively for that purpose. So, this means likely it was not the water in the jars which was transformed into wine. It was the new water drawn out of the well after the jars had been filled to the brim. Why does this matter? Why would John give us those details? Because we have to understand what Jesus is doing here. The age he is inaugurating here is extremely important to see. This is what John is trying to show us. Jesus essentially said, see those old Jewish ritual jars for cleansing, for ritual purification, to fulfill the Mosaic law? Fill up those jars representing the old way God related with his people and the old way God purified his people. They are filled now. Did you fill them up? Okay, good. Because their time is over. Their time has been fulfilled. It's done. It's finished. Now, go get some of the new stuff that I'm going to make. You see what's going on here with this miracle? God used to cleanse his people with large jars of water. It would clean the outside of people only. That was the Mosaic law. And guess what? It didn't work. Because we couldn't keep it. We couldn't clean the inside of us. It wouldn't really cleanse us fully. It wouldn't really cover our shame, like the shame that's about to come upon this man and this family for his failure to provide. It wouldn't really forgive our sin. It was just window dressing for the outside. We need something new. We need something better. We need something that cleanses our inside, our hearts, not just the outside. And in this miracle, Jesus is doing just that. So what do the servants draw out? What is the character of what Jesus now produces? What is this new thing? Verse 9 begins to tell us. The servants take it to the master of the feast. Master of the feast would be something like the head caterer of the wedding. In this case here, the head caterer of this huge celebration and party. And what has now happened? The water has now become wine. Remember, in our scripture reading that we just did out of Amos, and you can look all across the Old Testament, wine represents in the Old Testament scripture God's fullness of blessing. God pouring out his goodness on his people. A new and final kingdom is going to come. The mountains will drip with sweet wine, we read in Amos there. Metaphorical language to show what wine represents in God's economy. The thing that represents celebration and feasting and God's goodness coming has now been provided by Jesus. Well, what kind of wine is it? $2 chuck is one thing, right? If you are familiar with wine, you know, it's $2 for a reason. Is that what we have from Jesus here? Is that what he is bringing? Well, what the head caterer tastes blows him away, right? He is so stunned, he immediately says, "Get the groom over here right now. I have to tell him something." The groom, likely aware of the shame that was about to come on him, he was probably aware that the wine had run out and he had failed miserably, and shame was going to come upon him, his new bride, and his whole family because he failed to provide enough wine for all the guests. He's unaware of why he's being called by the head caterer. He probably thinks, uh-oh, I'm about to get reprimanded for not providing enough wine here. Or he's probably thinking the caterer is going to ask, all right, what's your plan for getting more wine? But what does the head caterer say? What does the master of the feast say to him? Elated, he says to him, "Young man, everyone serves the good wine first. And then when people have drunk freely and gotten a little tipsy and their taste buds aren't working the same anymore, then they bring out the $2 chuck. But you have kept the good wine until now." The head caterer heaps honor onto the groom, not shame. You get the best for last. You have honored your guests by giving them the very best that you have at the end. Well done, young man. Think for a minute what the groom would have been thinking. He must have been bewildered, right? What, me? I thought we ran out. I mean, I guess this is good. You're welcome. Wonderful. And the celebration continues, this time with greater honor and greater celebrating than even before. This is a picture of what Jesus brings. He brings the good stuff. He brings not just the good stuff, the best stuff. He brings the Domaine de la Romanée Conti Grand Cru from France, which sells for $20,000 per bottle. Yes, I had to look that up. I have no idea if I pronounced it anywhere close to what it actually is, but it's the most expensive wine in the world, apparently. Jesus brings the best there is to those who come to him. This is what Jesus is doing now in his ministry and what he is telling his disciples. John tells us that actually only the servants and the disciples knew where the wine came from. But the message is clear. The old has passed away. The ritual cleansing of Moses never worked. The celebration could never last with them. Our shame could never be covered with them. But now something new has come. New wine is here. The best is here. His coming will mean celebration that will one day never, ever end. It will mean Sabbath rest for our weary souls that will never, ever end. His coming means our shame can be fully covered inside and out, once and for all. Something better than Moses is here. And the result? The disciples believed in him. John tells us. John, one of them. After this, Jesus continues showing something new has come. In the second half of the chapter, he goes to the temple and he cleanses it from the shifty money changers, charging people and defrauding them from access to the presence of God. Jesus is bringing something new. He brings access to God for everyone, rich and poor, not just those who can afford the access to God. And he foretells for the first time the power that his new kingdom is going to bring. The final victory will be won when he foretells his resurrection by telling them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. The old is passing away. Something new is here in Jesus. It's an age defined by celebration. It's an age defined by our shame being fully covered. It's an age defined by access to God for everyone, not just the privileged. It's an age defined by victory over death and darkness. New wine has come. But I want to close by asking a question. Who are we in this story? Very easy, very common probably to kind of place yourself in different places and different characters in the story. Easy probably to place yourself as one of the disciples, perhaps, observing Jesus and his miracle, and you're at this wedding, you're going, what is going on? And you see this miracle and you're moved to faith. That's a good place to look. Perhaps you identify with Mary, especially if you're a young mother, and his requests of Jesus and how her world is shifting and she needs to shift from what she used to think to needing to grow in a new understanding of who Jesus truly is. But I want to put this forward. Who are we ultimately in this story? I think we're all the groom. Think about the groom. The groom had actually failed. He was about to have great shame heaped upon him, not just for himself, but for his bride and for his family. He failed to provide what was his duty. And likely, before the miracle, he knew it. And he was probably wrecked, and he was probably hopeless to some extent. It's a picture of us in our sin, in our shame, in our duty to God, in the ways that we have failed, the ways we've been selfish and not giving, the ways we've made idols and not turn to who God really is. But then, for the groom, Jesus shows up. And what happens to him? Instead of shame, because of Jesus, he gets incredible honor. Because of Jesus, instead of emptiness, he gets fullness. Instead of despair, he gets endless celebration. Instead of average, he inherits the best. He did nothing to deserve it at all, right? In fact, to the contrary, he didn't earn it in any way. He didn't pay a dime for this new wine which Jesus brought, yet he received it all in grace. This is what Jesus brings to those who look to him, to those who trust in him. For our failure, he cleanses us. For our shame, he covers us. For our dishonor, he honors us before his Father. For our despair, he gives us endless celebration. Something new has come. A new celebratory age is here. Hallelujah. Praise God. Let's pray. Lord, I'm so thankful that John preserves all these amazing details of a story that for me Seems pretty simple, wonderful on the surface, but when you understand so much of what's going on behind the scenes, so much of what the purification jars represent, so much of what new wine represents, we're amazed and blown away by what you actually do. Father, help us to understand that we are the groom, failing in various ways spiritually, unable to provide what we should have, unable to do our duty, selfish sometimes to turn away from you, to make idols out of other things. And yet here you come, out of nowhere, showing up in our normal lives, our common lives, our basic lives. And you do an incredible work. And for all who turn to you, you bring honor. You bring celebration. You cover our shame. You forgive our sin. Lord, help us to enter into that celebration of the new wine that you bring, the new age that you bring. For any of us in here who have not put our trust in you, I pray this would be the first morning they decide to do that. And they would enter into that endless Sabbath rest and Sabbath celebration, which will be ours, in part now and in fullness on the new earth. Pray these things in Jesus' name.